Those were in your last packet. I didn't
Right.
redo it.
Okay.
Can we do that at this meeting? Approve those minutes?
It's on the docket.
Okay.
Otherwise, you're getting too far behind on approval of minutes, and that's why I threw it on.
I move that we approve. I didn't. I was ready to do it last meeting.
You gotta speak louder, I can't hear you.
I make a motion to approve both sets of minutes.
Which are the minutes of February 1st?
Yes.
And the 18th.
And the 18th.
And February 1st, February 18th.
So we have a motion. Okay, we have a second. Any discussion, corrections? If not, I'll signify by aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right. Citizens wishing to address the committee on items on the agenda, 3-minute limit. Anybody?
I guess I will, depending on what's discussed in the DNR grant application.
All right. Okay, recommendations on DNR grant application.
You'll see in front of you that you have a commitment for $1,000 from Kiwanis for the playground equipment. So that's a $1,000 commitment. And John was supposed to check with Rotary. He didn't call it. I didn't hear.
There'll be another $250 coming in from a source.
For the playground equipment?
Yes. Who was contacting the Rotary? John?
It was supposed to be John, yeah.
Let me see if I remember his phone number right. Let's see if he contacted anybody.
How soon do we? Well, maybe
This has to be approved today because it's April 1st deadline.
Is
It's on
John
the
or
docket for Monday's city commission meeting.
You,
yeah, this is Sam Davey. We're at having a Parks and Rec meeting that he was supposed to be at, and needed to know whether he contacted
It's got to be in the
Rotary on
application. We got to do
donation
it by
for
April
the
1st. But by Monday,
playground
we
equipment
got
in
to
Norris
present
Park.
this to the city commission.
so we should have a pretty good figure then.
We should have a figure before that's presented at Monday's
Should
meeting.
that be a final figure?
I would
Can
assume that it should be.
you call him on
This
his
is
cell and
getting-
have him give
yeah,
me a
this is
call
getting
at
close.
Something we can discuss here.
Yeah.
364-2399? Okay, what's his number? 0190. Okay.
Could we,
All right, I'll try. All right, thanks. Bye.
I just prepared a summary of some Patterson tennis court options, also for consideration. After speaking to some construction people, one new court construction to start, kind of like if you tore up the old surface, like the two that exist, or you built a new one, is roughly $25,000 per court.
And that is to...
Per court a year.
Oh, yeah. And that is to do what again?
To build a tennis court basically from scratch, you know, new surface,
Such
a
as
new
a-
subsurface.
Such as a third court.
A third court, or if we wanted to rip up the two old ones, not that we want to, but if we wanted to,
Probably
maybe
20,000.
20,000 per court, right. Then I called a company that I purchased crack sealer from to repair the courts, and spoke to them, and they estimated that to buy the materials to repair cracks, put one new base coat on to level things out where puddles develop, etc., and two new top coats of the paint finish and lines would be $3,500 per court. Then lighting is roughly $8,000 per court.
So everything is per court.
Per court.
Your figures?
Yes.
Okay.
And
Yeah,
then
yeah,
there's
per
third court fencing, if we were to add a third court, which would be approximately 240 feet, which would be the three sides, since we have one side already there, would be roughly $3,600. That's based on a 10-foot high fence. We may want it to be higher just because it faces Hemlock Street to keep bugs from flying out, but roughly. Then there's different options. If we wanted to build three basically new courts and have one lighted, it would be roughly $83,000.
And that's taking these figures
Yes.
and
Yes.
expanding them. Okay.
Exactly.
Mhm.
But that doesn't include fencing, so it might, I forgot to add in the fencing, so it'd probably be more like $86,600. And then the 20% equivalent of the 83,000 was 16,600, so add a little bit more for the matching funds. Then the next option is to build one new court, the third court, rehabilitate the existing two courts. Now, the rehabilitation figure above is with volunteer labor. Okay? To rehabilitate the existing two courts and add lighting to one court would be roughly, and that includes the fencing, would be $43,600, and the match would be about $87,220. Then if we just wanted to rehabilitate the existing two courts with volunteer labor and add lights, that would be $15,000 with a $3,000 match. Or rehabilitate the two courts professionally with no volunteer labor, add lighting would be roughly $22,000 with that match. I don't have anything on paper, but matching funds secured so far, I have two $1,000 private donations, $2,000, and then $1,000 committed that the Iowa Tennis Club would fundraise to help generate. I spoke to Preston with that. And then I'm not sure if it counts, but if the volunteer labor to rehabilitate the courts, which I was, because based on the time taken in filling cracks that we did this summer, on the outside, the high end, I figure it's 160 hours, and valuing that at $20 an hour, that's $3,200. I wish Scott were here to see if that qualifies or not.
Yes.
You know, for in-kind.
But we can bring that up. I mean, that is something we can talk to them after the meeting. too.
Okay. And then I don't have like a construction person yet committed to commit like any bulldozing yet. I spoke to one and he wasn't quite willing to commit yet. And the city contribution, Scott was going to explore if there's any in-kind contribution that the city could do. But my personal recommendation, based on the fact, if the volunteer labor can be counted as in-kind, which would mean we would have for sure $6,200, and I have more calls out. I think we could raise more in terms of in-kind. My personal recommendation is to go for the second option, to build one new third court, rehabilitate two courts, and add lighting to one court.
43,600.
43,600. And that would be professional
No.
application?
Volunteer
No,
labor.
Volunteer labor.
And that is putting on the final coats, the playing surface coats and stuff like
Yes.
that.
That's the one new
But
court.
the gentleman I spoke to at this company that I purchased was very helpful, and Marquette has done that where they've applied it themselves. And he has a lot of private citizens, of course, all over the country in Canada who purchase it and do it, and they're all very pleased, and they give unbelievably detailed instructions on the internet